Ready for a story? Well, a while ago I heard about something that caught my attention. The story goes that there are secret haunted ruins in the woods that no one has been to. These ruins are on a secluded island on a large pond in the woods, and getting to it is tricky. But we were up for a challenge, so we went to find them. Here's a map of where we started at the northeastern side of the pond. And this is where we had to travel. It would be a little over a mile hiking along the river, following an extremely old path that would be tough to see at times. With the gear all set, we left, starting the trek through a historic cemetery. Okay, now at this point I should add that I wasn't even 100% sure that these ruins would be at the location I pinned down. Even if we didn't find it though, the journey there was gorgeous and it was completely silent except for the sounds of nature. I was basing this exploration off of old info I found online from a fisherman who accidentally found this place. This is a photo he shared, and it was the only one I had to go by. He described his discovery by saying, "I had this strange feeling about the place. I didn't stay long." I knew we were getting closer, and whatever was on that island was waiting for us. You can see here, there really isn't much of a trail to go by. It was pretty much keep heading south while keeping the shoreline in sight. Every once in a while, the woods would open up to another beautiful view of the pond. About a mile on, and we finally found one of the markers the fisherman described, a natural bridge, aka Beaver Dam. Crossing this brought us, finally, onto the island where the ruins would be. And then, after hiking a bit more, we saw them. I have to say, it was eerily quiet here. It didn't help that we went there with this notion of it being naturally creepy, but as far as abandoned places go, this one gave the feeling that we were being watched. I think it's mainly because of all the windows here, since we can be seen from any angle, but beyond the walls was just dense forest. Okay, enough with the ghost stories. I know you're wondering, what is this and why was it abandoned? Don't worry, I got you covered. The history of these remains date back to the 1800s, when a number of houses were built along this pond. This house specifically was the summer home of a man named Edward Cross, the owner of a large construction company. In the 1930s, the state was constructing new reservoirs and taking land in the surrounding areas for drainage. This pond and the properties on the pond were part of the land they needed. Edward fought the state, but even with his resources, couldn't win. So his land was forfeited, and this is all that's left of his estate nearly 100 years later. At one point, there was a bathhouse, boathouse, and other buildings. There were likely other remains along the pond here, but those are long gone now. So this is it for the ruins on this pond, but if you were to travel north of here, you would come to some ruins that served a much different purpose. That's right, you're getting a bonus bando here, because we visited another abandoned spot while exploring. We're sitting on the former site of the Rutland Prison Camp. On the right there are the remains of solitary confinement, but we'll get to that in a minute. The prison itself was built in 1903 to house minor offenders such as drunkards and petty criminals, and contained a fully functioning co-op farm to keep them busy and productive. In addition to the potatoes, the farm also had chickens and dairy cows, producing enough milk to sell to the nearby town of Worcester. Of course, the prison facility contained cell blocks, staff housing, and a water tower. Let's just check the map and I'll show you what's still left and where we're exploring. These two spots that I've circled is the area that we're in. Nearly everything else here that would have been awesome to investigate have been demolished. So there are two easily identifiable structures that are still here today. We'll start with the solitary cell blocks, where the bad boys would go. As you can see, pretty small quarters, huh? I can't even imagine how hot these cells would have been in the summer heat. The hinge mounts for the doors and the locking plates are still here from over 100 years ago. Following the path behind solitary confinement is the foundation for the main cell blocks. Throughout this foundation are collapsed sections of the tunnel beneath that you can see into. It's about a 6-foot drop in, which would be pretty terrifying if you stumbled on it in the dark. So rather than jump down and see what's up, we decided to follow it until the end, where we could find an opening. After a short little walk, we found the opening to the tunnel. And at the end of this tunnel is just a dead end, just a solid slab of concrete in the dark. A real bummer. Speaking of tunnels, let's head over to the other structure here, which is this. Perhaps another cell block underground? Maybe someone's home? Nah, not quite that exciting. This is the old root cellar, where the crops that the prisoners harvested would be kept, with the main crop being potatoes. And as far as space goes, You can fit a lot of potatoes in this thing. What was once stock full of produce is now stock full of graffiti. Even with the doors off, it was noticeably cooler in here. Okay, here's the big question. Why was it abandoned? Did crime stop in this area once people realized the benefits of a simple farming lifestyle? Not quite. The prison grounds were actually abandoned for the same reason as the summer home. These were also built on a drainage area for the local water supply. So in 1934, the whole place was abandoned, left to crumble in the woods. The bigger structures were demolished, while these stone and concrete ones were just left as is. Now, the land is a state park, and a really nice one too. I highly recommend going here for a hike or a swim, or to spot all the beaver houses.
That's a beaver house.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's a beaver trap.
I'd like to give a massive thanks to my guy Eric, who tracked these spots down with me and manned the GoPro for several shots. I'd also like to thank the Rutland Historical Society for their help providing more background info. Their resources are amazing and they are super helpful, so thank you again. New England continues to amaze me with the hidden history we have, and this adventure was wicked fun. To see more places like this, you can check out the rest of my Abandoned from Above series on my channel right now. Thanks for watching.